Welcome to my studio. Today I want to reflect on what it means to receive an incredible gift. Perhaps at Christmas time or a birthday or special occasion such as a graduation or something, you receive a gift. And we say, that's really great. And in some ways, those are kind of expected. But what about those times when we receive a gift that is much more than we expected? It's just like we're overwhelmed by overwhelmed by that. For example, I think of a story that I have. It goes back a good 40 years or so. And we were young in ministry, raising support, financial challenges. It was Christmas time, and I remember receiving a Christmas card in the mail, and I looked at who it was from, and I said, wow, I wouldn't have expected to get a Christmas card from them. We opened the card, and inside was a check for $500. Now remember, this is 40 years ago. That was a lot of money, and we were in need. And I didn't even expect to get a Christmas card from this family. And they wrote a note, Merry Christmas. Says, we've been thinking of you, and we decided this year not to give each other Christmas gifts, but to give it to someone that we thought probably could use it more. And you're serving the Lord with your lives, and we know you have needs. We thought we could send you a gift. I was overwhelmed. Maybe you can think of a time when you were absolutely overwhelmed by a gift given to you of some kind. I'm thinking of the great gift that God is giving to us, and it really is an overwhelming gift. And we're going to continue on in this second chapter of Ephesians, where Paul had been writing about the dire straits that we were in, dead in our transgressions and sin, and how God has rescued us. And he is the hero of that story. And then I want to think about just how great that gift is that he's given to us. And so I'm going to read starting at verse 4 and reading down through verse 9 of Ephesians chapter 2. It says, but because of his great love for us, God, who is rich in mercy, made us alive with Christ, even when we were dead in transgressions. It is by grace you have been saved. And God raised us up with Christ and seated us with him in the heavenly realms in Christ Jesus, in order that in the coming ages he might show the incomparable riches of his grace expressed to us in the kindness to us in Christ Jesus. For it is by grace you have been saved through faith. And this is not from yourselves. It is the gift of God, not by works, so that no one can boast. God has given us an incredible gift. You know, as I look at these verses, I see two parts, two characteristics of God. Now, of course, there's many characteristics of God, but two that really describe what he's like in order to give such a gift. And the first one is that God, being rich in mercy, that's who he is. He is rich in mercy. And so what is mercy? Mercy is kindness or concern expressed for someone else. It's similar to a word like for pity or compassion. It's a word that another Greek word, a synonym to that would be like to have your heart go out to someone. You care so much about the situation they are in a situation where they're desperate. God being rich in mercy. And then the other word is that it is by grace. And so, what is grace? Grace is God's great act of kindness. It's a kindness that we don't deserve. It's a kindness that we can't earn. It's simply an undeserved favor that God gives to us. And it's when we receive that, we can say, wow, look how great God is. What a great God that we have. And that's what he's saying here too, that he has given us this great gift so that he can show in the ages to come the riches of his grace. And so it says in verse 7, in order that in the coming ages he might show the incomparable riches of his grace expressed in his kindness to us in Christ Jesus. But how rich is this grace? Well, it says in verse 6 that God raised us up with Christ and seated us with him in the heavenly realms in Christ Jesus. If you've been following these videos, you'll maybe remember several episodes back, I talked about the heavenly realms and some of the misconceptions that people have about heaven. Heaven is not a location. In fact, here again is where Paul uses this word heavenly, and it's an adjective, not a noun. And so what is it describing? And it's this heavenly realm. And it's a whole different realm. It's like the air that surrounds us. It's not a location. It's where God dwells. And God has raised us up with Christ and seated us with him. He is with us always. And we have him close nearby us. And that's why the writer of Hebrews says, let us then approach God's throne of grace with confidence so that we may receive mercy and find grace to help us in our time of need. Here again, those two words, grace and mercy. But we can approach God's throne. We can live in that heavenly realm with God because of his grace and his mercy to us. And we're invited to draw near to that. You see, we need God's grace, not just so that we can go to heaven, but so that we can live life. And we can trust in him for all the burdens and concerns and cares of our lives, all the circumstances that we find ourselves in, because of God's great grace for us. You know, grace is not simply something that we receive at that moment when we maybe put our confidence in Jesus or something like that. We live by grace. We need grace continually in order to live in that relationship with him. And so I invite you to draw near to God and to live by that grace. It is an indescribable gift. And in fact, that's the way Paul puts it in a sweet little verse in 2 Corinthians 9:15. But thanks be to God for his indescribable gift. The King James Version said his unspeakable gift. We don't use language like that today, but it basically means we can't put it into words. Words will not express adequately the gift that God has given to us. And we just thank him and celebrate that, and we live in that grace that he's given to us. And so may God bless you as you live by that grace. Amen. Once again, I just remind you, if you've enjoyed this, please subscribe if you've not subscribed yet. And when you do so, you can click the little notification bell and learn of the next one that comes up. We try to put one up every week. So may God bless you.